Our next speaker this morning is Mr. Masood Khamsi. Masood, as we all call him, is a true son of the cradle of the faith, a Sayyid, a descendant of the glorious lineage of the Prophet Muhammad, and a third generation Baha'i. His grandfather attained the holy presence of Baha'u'llah, and his father in Europe for many months was in the presence of Abdul Baha and served him personally. Masood first pioneered in central Persia in the Khamsi mountains, and under very dangerous conditions, despite persecution, he was able to form the first spiritual assembly there when he was but a youth. The Guardian encouraged Masood to pioneer to a virgin territory, and in consultation with the Hands, in 1958, he first pioneered to Argentine. After 2 years, he went to Bolivia, in consultation with the Hands of the Cause in the Western Hemisphere. He was a member of the original Regional National Assembly of the area, and is now both a member of the Bolivian NSA and also a member of the Auxiliary Board. When Masood went to Bolivia, there were 400 Baha'is. Now there are 7,000. Mr. Masood Khamsi.
Excuse me, anything can be done for Indian friends. They don't have any earphone, and the program is for them now. Can anything be done? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, there's one is coming. الله اکبر. از احبای عزیز ایران خیلی معذرت میخوام که طبق دستور عرایض بنده بایستی به انگلیسی بشه، ولی با همه احوال وظیفه دارم از احبای بولیویا که به هر لسانی که آشنا هستم سلام 7000 بهایی بولیویا را خدمتشون عرض بکنم و این فرصتی است که پیام محبت آمیز و عاشقانه آنها را خدمت شما معروض بدارم. I just apologized the Persian friends because surely they are expecting me to speak in Persian, but as the official language is English, I could not go on with Persian. Anyhow, the friends in Bolivia, 6,000 and 7,000 of them, the last days of my departure from Bolivia, sent their representatives, and among their many wishes was to send their love and regards to the Baha'is that I will meet on my way in the languages that I can speak. So that was the first part that I said in Persian. The same, I want to extend to you the love and regards and remembrance of the 7,000 Indian Baha'is from Bolivia to all of you. Especially they asked me to extend their love to the beloved Hands. Friends, you remember the first day when beloved Amatul Baha quoted beloved Guardian saying that the majority of the world are not white, and there's no reason that in Baha'i faith the majority should be white. In 1953, when I had the privilege and the bounty of pilgrimage to the holy shrines and visiting beloved Guardian, in one occasion he talked about the same subject to 3 of us Persian pilgrims that were present. First he explained the behaviors of the Baha'is to the minorities, towards the minorities. He said how the Baha'is have to love the minorities, to respect them, to show their affection and love and serve them. He said the Baha'is should be completely different from politicians. They have respect and they care very much for the majorities. But the Baha'is shouldn't be like this. They should respect and serve the minorities. Then he went on, the beloved guardian, and briefly told us how the faith brought in the different principal races. He said from yellow race we had from the time of Abdul Baha, maybe the guardian meant by this Fujita, who we know and who is from the yellow race. He said also we have Indian, red Indian from America in the Baha'i faith. About these two, he said, in the 10 years plan, the pioneers had been asked to go and settle in these countries, and I hope soon the result and the fruit of their work will change the minority in these territories from the native race to the white. Then, as I was coming from African First Intercontinental Conference, he said, you have seen there, already the whites are in minority and the black are in majority. And then he went on to praise the service of Mr. Banani and how in few months the pioneers have achieved such a great victory. Then he said, there is left one race from which we don't have any Baha'i, and that's the brown. He said, in this moment, we don't have any Baha'i from this race. The brown race, as in Persian or Arabic, is Asmar, Nejad Asmar. He said, from this race, we don't have any. But soon the pioneers will settle there, and I hope this race will have the majority and the white be in minority. All these races that the beloved guardian mentioned, he hoped and showed his wish that he wants the whites to be in minority and those races in majority. That was 1953, and now we are in 1963, 10 years at the end of this crusade. Already you have seen in the statistics that this wish and hopes of the guardian is accomplished in all these parts of the world. In Africa, we had and we have the majority of the black race. In the isles of the Indian Ocean and South Pacific, the last that we heard from the friends, there are altogether around 40,000 brown race, which completely surpasses the majority, and they are more than majority above the whites. With the new and recent notices from Korea, it seems that soon the yellow race will be also in majority, and the white there will stay in minority too. The red Indians, also the number comparatively to others, are much smaller, but I even warned the friends in New York in a gathering. I told them if they do not double their efforts to bringing more Baha'is, soon they will be in minority too. Now going back to Bolivia, where I was residing this last 3 years, I should say it's the highest land, it's the highest country, but her dwellers are the closest to the God. Mr. Faizi said when he was visiting us in Bolivia, he said really their heart is as pure as the blue, beautiful, clear sky of Bolivia, because in those high mountains, 9 months of the year there is no rain, and the sky is really painted blue. And he was always saying that it looks exactly like the heart of these Bolivians. Bolivia is almost the same size as France, but covered with the mountains. Andes passes the great part of Bolivia. And the Baha'i settlement is in the altitude of 8,000 to 18,000 feet. For this reason, the distances of the Baha'i groups is very much. So it needs a day to walk from one center, one community to the other community. The communication is very bad in Bolivia, partly because of these mountains and partly because the country itself is in an exhaustion of economic sources. We still in Bolivia use the old type of horns for calling the friends, and also we use the smoke signals to call and to gather the friends. The teaching is mostly done by walking. The main roads in the country are very short, so after passing those main roads, then we have to walk. And some of the pioneers developed the ability of walking 60 miles a day, which is 90 kilometers, or which is 16 hours a day they can walk. Altogether, teaching in Bolivia is hard for this natural and also political situation. But the pioneers and the friends there know well of this word of Baha'u'llah. If a man singly and alone will arise and put on the armor of his love, him will the Almighty victorious, though tens of thousands be led against him. The teachers and pioneers in Bolivia know this very well. And with the sacrifice which they have shown, really they received the bounty and this victory through Baha'u'llah. I think it's adequate to mention here one of the interesting events that all in Bolivia know about that, to share it with friends. This is to see how the friends sacrificed there and how Baha'u'llah helped them. In one of the teaching trips, 3 friends on the top of a lorry, of a truck, they were traveling to a village. All of a sudden the truck stopped, and these friends saw that many trucks that passed them are coming back. They asked the reason, what happened? They said the next village is a revolution in the next village, and there is gunfire and killing. So all the trucks are going back and everybody is going back. These 3 friends said, well, we came from a long way and we have to go forth because many of these Indians have asked us to visit them. Are we going to go back? Are we living down their request? Some of them said, no, we have to serve the faith, but it's much better be alive and serve the faith. If we go in the village, they might kill us. One of the bullets will be the target of one of the bullets, and it's better to go back. Then they decided, as the Baha'i ways, to vote, to see, to go for or to go back. They tossed, and they had to bring the hands. If it was the palm, they had to go forward. If it was the back, they had to go back. They said 1, 2, 3, 3 palms came in. It means forward. That was a very important experience because they had to pass through the riverbed and not to be target of the bullets. The night, very late, they had to refuge to a school and sleep on the floor as usual in Bolivia. And anyhow, none of them were dead. But Baha'u'llah, seeing this, showered his grace. And in that trip, they brought 600 believers enrolled. I would like to share one of other of my experiences with you. As I said, the communication in Bolivia is very hard. Very few places they have cable or mail office, and the majority of the Bolivian villages or where our tribes are settled, there is no way of communication. There was a Sakaka, a village by the name of Sakaka, around which we had many settlements of the Baha'is, and it was very important for us to have a communication with them, but it was impossible. because in this village, Sakaka, we did not have any Baha'i. And we were looking forward how we can bring some of these people into the faith. In one of the teaching trips, I was with this beloved friend Andres that I'll introduce to you later. I will talk about him later. We were visiting the surrounding Baha'i settlement. So from one of these places we came down to get some more kerosene, candle and matches to be able to continue our trip. As we were walking in the streets, we were asking every shop, the modest shops, if they have kerosene or if they have match or candle. Most of them, they didn't have it. Passing one shop without taking consideration to ask that if they have, because it looked very, very modest, we passing, but a voice from the shop called us, what you want? ¿Qué quieren, señores? What you want? In Spanish. Well, we turned back and said, well, we want kerosene. We don't think you have. She said, yes, I have. We want match. Yes, she said, I have. Also candle you have? Yes, I have. Okay. Then we turned back and we went to the shop. When we were sitting there, we asked for a refreshment, and she brought some refreshment, local refreshment, and started to ask, who you are? What are you doing here? Why did you come to this place? We didn't want to announce in public in that village that we are Baha'is and we're coming to visit our friends or for teaching the faith. So we said we have a friend around here. We came to visit this friend. She asked, who is that friend? Well, we said, Sabino. He's a teacher, a school teacher in one of these villages. He said, that young fellow, I know him. He talked to me long ago about something new that was very interesting, and he promised to go back to bring books for me, but I never saw him since. Can you explain what is this new ideas, this new message that you have? Well, to hear this, we could not reject anymore, and we started to tell her what is the Baha'i faith and what we are doing. When I was explaining about the faith, he was crying. And when I finished my explanation, I asked her, what are you crying for? I'm not saying anything bad, anything wrong. She said, no, that's a crying of happiness. She said, as you see, I'm invalid. She was just sitting there and giving order to bring this and bring that, but she was invalid, she couldn't move. She said, it's a long time that I'm praying and asking God to give me a spiritual happiness. She said, I'm telling God, what is the use of my living? What for? I am alive. I can't do anything. I don't have any happiness. At least give me a spiritual happiness so my heart to be happy and to go happy from this world. He said, many times when I feel any depression, I start this praying and this talking with God. But last night exactly, I went again through these prayers and was begging God to send me a message, to give me a spiritual happiness. Now when you were talking about this beautiful message, about this lovely new ideas, I was just crying that God has accepted my prayers and gave me this spiritual happiness. And right away she asked, can I be a Baha'i? Do you accept me as a Baha'i, as a sister? We couldn't say anything except yes. And that way, receiving a new Baha'i, receiving a new spirit, a new soul, we also established the center of our communication for the whole area, because from now on, since that time, we could send all the messages to her and she would have sent it to the villages around that village. Maybe you would like, I'm sure you would like to know how the faith started in Bolivia. One day, an Indian walking in the street of La Paz saw the sign of the Baha'i Center, which at the same time was written, the world faith, the faith of love, harmony, international language, all the 12 principles was written at the same time on the sign on the street. So this Indian came in and said, what is that about? An American and the Chilean believers were there, which I love to meet them, a Mr. Smithson, or Mr. Smith, which I have not the honor of seeing her. He was there, and he explained to him what is the Baha'i faith, and he gave him some book. That Indian went back, and next day came again to this Baha'i center with another friend, his cousin, and said, we are Baha'i, and we want to take some literature to our friends, to our village, because we are sure they will become Baha'i too. And that Indian, the first Indian of South America, is among us. Andres, which is standing on the right, is from the Aymara race, which is descendant of the Incas, the old kingdom and the old kings of this part of South America. Later, Andres will be presented officially, introduced officially, but I want to tell you, from this 6,000 and 7,000 Baha'i that you hear, we have from Bolivia, I can say, about 2,000 are the direct spiritual son of this Andres. That was the way the faith started there, back in 1957, and another privilege of Andres is that he became a Baha'i in the time of the Beloved Guardian, and Beloved Guardian was informed about the first Indian in Bolivia. So he has shared to bringing joy to Beloved Guardian's heart too. Also, there is not very much time, but I want to speak a little more about the faith in South America, because I don't see any program to talk about this part. The Latin Americans have a great share of erecting the House of Justice, our supreme legislative body, and also of this gathering, because they form 21 pillars of this 56 national assemblies that we have. And it's amazing that these people, just in 2 decades and a half, they developed such a progress and such an interest in the Baha'i faith. We are looking forward to see their greater progress and their greater victory in the Baha'i faith. Also, I would like to mention now the name, or altogether to be mentioned, the beloved heroes and heroines of North America, the United States, first pioneers and teachers who came to South America, who brought the faith to the Latin American, who helped them to grow, who helped them to be mature in the faith. To my knowledge, one of the first Baha'is of North America who came to South America is Martha Ruth. I have been told that she, on donkey back, rode the Andes in South America and gave the first spiritual readiness to this continent. Then I have the name of Keith Ransom Keller, who the Persians know very well. She was among the first teachers who visited South America. And all of you remember also, one of the teachers who traveled in South America is May Maxwell, the mother of our beloved guardian, whose resting place is in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Also, I would like to mention the name of Leonard Armstrong, who was the first Baha'i that went to South America in the time of Abdul Baha, and she is still in South America. The guardian himself called her the mother of men and women believer of Brazil. Also, we have another mother here. Fortunately, she is here among us. This we call her the mother of Peru. Also, our Indians know her, and they call her Mamita, which means the little dear mother. She is Eve Nicklin. Now I wish she get up so everybody can see her. Hickling. She is the first pioneer of the first 7-year plan who answered the call of beloved guardian and by recommendation of Martha Ruth came and settled in Bahia of Brazil. All this friend gave the first spiritual force and power in South America, enabling the later pioneers to achieve what has been achieved. So, in fact, we should not say that one or a new group had achieved the victories, but the whole pioneers from early days, they helped and they stand all together for these victories. There are many others American pioneers, as I said, heroes and heroines, that I have their name, but I'm afraid my time is over and I cannot mention their name. The one thing more I want to say, now everything we talked is about the past. How about now and future? These victories have to be continued. Few pioneers brought up this 7,000 Baha'is of Bolivia or 2,000 of Panama. Now they need more help. Newer generation. In every Baha'i gathering, in other conferences, we had many volunteers to go for pioneering or teaching trips. My wish is that from this Congress, this most great jubilee, this festivity, also some friend volunteer for going and continuing these victories. Thank you.